All right. So I borrowed my buddy Kyle's 88 account. This is our practice account. It was my practice account for a while, and then it was my buddy Scooby's practice account. And now it's Kyle's practice account. And we've all added to the gold banners on it. And it's got kind of mid-level clubs. So it's got the Extra Mile 8. It does have stuff getting up there in the 7. So it's not bad. I could bring out that to Malibu, but I would rather have, for my money, I would rather have distance on a sand wedge than some accuracy close up. I don't find myself a lot in the sand up close. Typically when I'm in the sand, it's far away. And if I am close, the Spitfire can still get it done. I'll have to remember all the numbers for these clubs. I don't have anything written down, so I'll just have to wing it. Let's see if Kyle's doing a max overpower hook shot here. I'm going to do the shot coming out over here. I'm not sure if you can get it done with an Extra Mile. Well, you should be able to get it done with an Extra Mile 8, especially with that kind of head or tailwind right there. Try and get on and one. We're messing around now. Kyle's got it going. See if he can get that hook over there. I have no idea where if he gets over there, like, is that going to be in the trees or where the hell is that going to be at? All right, so you want to go for it? I'll go for it too. All right, I'm going to use up his ball inventory. He's going to be pissed at me. He's got plenty of Titans. The king of balls. So it'll be about 2.5 topspin if I can get it over there. So that wind will push me up. Up on the deal. There's max curl, and I don't need max. I need about half. Hit it one ring great to the left, and that should stick me over there. Now it's all a matter of whether I got the topspin right. That's what we're looking for. On and one on that hole. Get in the hole. I like I said, and I am tired of dicking around on this hole with the chips that go in because this green is so difficult. And I am going to, every single time I get on this hole, try and work that shot getting over, especially when we have, I'm not going to pull out big balls, but like if I can pull out a Titan and get it done, if we've got any kind of tailwind, so that I can work out the topspin there. So that was like 2.5 topspin. And I really think that 2 topspin is probably about all you need. If you get the trajectory right, 2 topspin is going to put you out front. And what I really don't want to do is engage the green. Now I got kind of lucky there the way it came in. But if you're up at the top of this green, it is super, super tough. Super tough. We're going to go to shootouts here because we were trying to get the shootouts that we're looking for. So I will miss my putt here so that we can go to a shootout. That would have been an easy eagle on that hole. All right. That's the shot that I don't care. I'm going to take that. I am done. This is one of those holes that you put yourself in the right spot and it's still, you still have to make that chip coming in and you still have to set it up right and you still have to make a great wind adjustment and you still got to hit perfect and you still got to get all that stuff right. And when we talk about percentages, it's not like, it's a 100% chance that you're going to get an eagle on it. But if you can get over there and get on and one and turn that into a 90% chance that you're going to get an eagle on it, I'm all for that. I'm done messing around on that hole. There are several of the holes that are in T4 right now, and I'm not sure if they're all Parc de Paris or what, or if they're some of the Glen Monarch holes. I'm not sure which ones that I'm doing the max overpower hooks on, just because that's the shot. That's the shot I'm going to take in a tournament, and you really need to practice those shots to get, because they are, we talk risk versus reward. There's risk with them, especially if you're not comfortable taking that shot. Ooh, close. Nice shot. I'm going to beat that, Kyle. Here it comes. About 3 backspin. Okay, I'm going to do a 20% wind adjustment. So that's going to be about 8.7 times 2 is about 8. About 9. So there's about 8. Just try and hit it perfect. Oh, and I hit it great to the left. And he got me. There's just two good looks at it, though. Pretty good looks at it. Close. Kyle just got his first golds, and he got 2 in 1 week. I've been saying for months now that Kyle is going to pop out when he's on the cusp of getting a gold, and when he gets a gold, he's going to get 5 of them in a row, and he got 2 golds last week in the Community Cup, 1 in his main account and 1 in his practice account. And normally the way it works is you end up with 1 in your practice account, and I have 1 bag, so that is that's the downside of playing this account, is I only have 1 bag. So if I can't switch clubs. I can't do it. It wouldn't be prudent. Not at this juncture. $4.7. It's 2.1 per ring, so there's $4.7. Max curl. Hit a 1 ring great on the inside, which will help me. Just getting it over there and giving myself. There is if I remember correctly, this might be the hole that there's a rough bump up there at the top. It's a shot. This is a difficult hole to come down on, to get down into the. It really takes. In the past, I think I've come here with a Saturn, because the way that it comes in, this picture doesn't. When we get up here on the green and it spins around on the green, look at the backboard coming into the green from the direction that I'm at. It is super steep, and it's one of those shots that when you hit on the fairway right there, it's in a downward trajectory. So your first bounce is right where you want it, and then the second bounce just dives right into the green, and the ball will tend to come up short. That's a good way to come at it. I don't normally like to come that way. It just depends on the way the wind's blowing. And you can do that same shot and then rough bump out of that area. So if you're here, I don't think this has enough backspin to get that job done. So I'm going to have to do a rough bump. We're at max club, 1 per ring. Let's get where I can see what the heck's going on. Now, if you're doing this rough bump, that ball guide's not lying. But if you're trying to backspin it down there on the other side, it is. I'm going to do a 10% wind adjustment, 2.6. I have no idea why. I just feel like I should be doing a 10% wind adjustment. And that was like a 5. Hit a 1 ring great to the right. So I've hit a 1 ring great to the left, and I hit a 1 ring great to the right. So I'm on track for a I'm on track for a perfect. I need to focus. On trying to hit perfect. Half the time I don't focus on hitting perfect. I only really, like, when it really counts in the tournaments, then I'm really focused on perfect. But I find that if it's too much, I'm just dicking around half the time when I'm playing, and just trying to have fun and making good wind adjustments, and hitting the perfect would be great because you can make more shots. But I tend to find that I'm really only focused on hitting perfect when I'm in the tournament. but it would build up better habits if I focused on it all the time. It'd make it easier to hit perfect all the time when you're in a tournament if you're trying to hit perfect all the time. And Kyle is in the hole. Get in the hole. And that's why, because if I'd hit that perfect, it'd have been in the hole and we'd be going to a shootout as opposed to me getting my butt kicked. Good job. Good game. Oh, that was my bad. What was I thinking? Let's open up that pin chest and get that rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Get that chester rolling. Roll on. Get that next one popped up there. 2 games. 2 games lost. I'm 0-2. Here we go. All right. All right. I'm going to bring a bigger ball. I'm going to see. That's the shot that I want to take right there. 3-5. There's 4. There's about 3-5. Really do want to hit this one perfect. Hitting it perfect. Hitting it perfect. And I'm trying to do a second bounce rough bump. Need to hit that rough. You don't hit that rough, you're in the creek. That works. El perfecto. When this hole first came out, I was playing from the rear tees, and you can't do that shot where you hit there. It's difficult to get it over right here. You can do the little rough bump on this little, but it's hard to get out as far as I was. The thing I don't like about not hitting the rough is that if you don't hit the rough, it's really hard to stop yourself. And so what I was doing was I was a little bit farther to the right so that I gave myself 2 rings of separation off of that rough. And then there was a bigger rough pad on that side. And that might still catch it. Yeah, you're on that fatter part of the, see how it's fatter over there, Kyle? So no, that actually, I think that helped you. I think if you'd hit that to the left, he's not listening now, but when he goes back and watches the video, he'll see. So if you can get up into that area, if you've got a Guardian, you can still get up. 2 backspin. Let's get to the side so I can see how that backspin's responding. 3 backspin. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to take the wind out. At level 7, it's about 1.2 per ring, I believe. So there's a 2 ring pull. It's 2-4. Hitting a 1 ring great to the right. One of the things I like about the Guardian is even though it doesn't have top spin, and there's some of those shots where you can get to and you're right up against your red line and you can dial up a bunch of top spin and you can bridge the gap. What the Guardian does have is backspin. So you can hit a max overpower shot and engage backspin. And when you're doing that, when you're doing that, you know that if you can get to the other side, it's going to stick. And so sometimes you're in that spot where you need to do max overpower and you need a bunch of top spin, and the Guardian is just not going to get it done. Especially when it's maxed. I mean, I think when it gets to level 8, it gets like 3.5 bars of top spin, and when it's like level 9, I think it's close to I think it's 3.1 at level 8, and I'm not sure if it gets all the way to 4 at level 9, but it gets up there. That was a nice little look at. That was a nice shot at it. Very nice. Getting it perfect. Getting the eagle. This hole's hard to eagle. It's not a gimme eagle at all. It's definitely 2 shots at a time, because there is, if you're from the back tees and you're playing an expert and you got really high winds, there is a max overpower hook shot that you can do on this, where you start off on the left and you're going and you're out there, and you can get over to the other side of the creek and give yourself a much better look at it, but it's a very tough max overpower hook shot. And you got to have just the right wind in order to do it. And Kyle's in his main account and he's in the king, so he's got 4 bags versus the 1 that we have here in 88. You definitely, this is a super good sniper hole. 1.2 per ring plus 10%. 1 backspin. Boom. And that's really good speed. I mean, if that was on track, on trajectory right there, that's in the hole. Do 1, just a sliver of backspin. So it's 2-3, so that's going to be 2-5. That's 1.2 per ring. Or at mid club, so it's 1-5 per ring. So there's 1-5. That leaves me, that's a ring and a third, or ring and 2/3, excuse me. Hit it 1 ring great to the left. Pin high. I've been coming back there with, in tournament play, 1 backspin's perfect. You will bleed forward just a little bit, like where Kyle was, where it bled past the hole. But that's perfect speed to get you in the cup, because what you don't want to do is end up short. So 1 backspin works really good because it'll slow it down enough that if you were on trajectory, it's in the hole. But when you're playing one-on-one, having just that little teeny extra sliver of backspin on there so that you end up, if you miss left or right, you're on trajectory. What's up, baby?
I forgot Splenda.
Forgot Splenda. Do I have enough wind to get me over there? Heck no. Heck no. Okay, where you want to be here? It's 2 rings off. No more than 2.5 topspin. Take the wind out. That's a little less than, that's 3/4 of a ring, somewhere in that neighborhood. Max curl. 1 ring great to the left. If you put on any more topspin than that, you'll bleed off. But 2.5 topspin with an extra mile will put you right there every time. I played this hole, I don't know how many times, and 2.5 topspin is the max if you're using an extra mile. If you're using it, I've been playing this with a big topper in my 77 account just this week, and because my big topper has the big dog in it, and you really want to come at this hole with a club that's got a little more distance. And the big topper works good because it's got, like, I'm going to suffer right here because I've got this Guardian in my bag, but if you're using a big topper, it's about 4 topspin. And you got to do a bunch of curl on it too in order to bring it the fairway over there, the way the rough is. there's a spot where the fairway, you can swing it around. So the more you come to the left with the curl, you'll get into a spot where the fairway shortens up. And you can actually engage the fairway. So it takes about 4 tops in with a big topper. Let's see if I can get this. It's a little bit harder with a Guardian than it is with a big dog. One, two. That's one ring. Uno ring. Let's see how much curl I have. I'm going to put all the curl on it. Hit it one ring great on the inside, and that is bad. It's going to put me right towards that sand. I didn't need to put very much curl on there. I do that stuff every single time I come to this hole. You look at that shot and you think, wow, you can put a bunch of curl on there, and the reality is you can't. And if you put all the curl on there and then you hit it one ring great to the left, you're screwed. I know this, and I still made that same mistake every single time I come to this hole. The idea, like when I come here in tournament play, I'm not trying to get up and on. I usually just try and lay it up in front and then just take the chip and get it on there, because it's a difficult shot to get up there. And he should be nice, very nice. Rolling off into the rough. Now I put that Spitfire in my bag. And let's get it done with the Spitfire. See if I can engage that topspin. There we go. Can I engage it? Okay, right on that transition. And at this distance, wind is not really going to play a factor. But I'm going to hedge my bet. One ring great. Nope. The ball guide was definitely lying. The deal is, if I'd hit that perfect, the ball guide wouldn't have been lying, but it disappeared if you go to the left or the right. So I could have backspin that on there. I know that level 2 Spitfire with the 6 backspin looks like it's a joke, but that 6 backspin on a Spitfire is a ton of backspin. And we evidently both suck from the sand and the rough. Let's work on my dunk. Let's work on dunks. Let's get the dunk thing going. Be a little to the left of that flagpole. Oh, and I missed it. That's what you get for just dinking around. That's what I'm talking about. I need to focus. I'm just sitting here playing, chilling out, thinking about how the coronavirus is going to kill everybody in America. We could be in some, I don't know. Right now, it seems like everybody's losing their mind, but I'd be curious to see how it plays out. I know that our government seems like it's sitting on their hands. When you go to the CDC and the first thing they say, I went to the CDC website yesterday, and the first thing it said about the coronavirus is stock up on supplies. That was their number one recommendation. That's a little, I mean, it seemed like there would be other things that they would do. I know a lot of businesses are taking it upon themselves to try and limit people's exposure, and they're doing it. It's not like we're not getting it feels like we're not getting a lot of direction from the government on what the deal is. And the longer that they wait before they start doing that, the less effective it will be. So I've got that Guardian in my bag. So one of the things I can do, I like the rough bump here, but the Guardian doesn't have enough topspin to get me all the way up to it. So what I'm going to do is there's Max. So we're just going to stick it up there at the cub. Three, 1. There's 2, 4. I'm going to just do 2.5 rings. Probably should overpull that, but I don't mind if I hit behind it and it brings it back a little. Isn't it perfect? Since it only took us 700 shots to finish that last hole. But the number somewhere, like when we talk about that virus stuff, somewhere, I think since January, since the beginning of 2020, we've had like 240,000 people have had influenza, and we've had 12,000 deaths, which is a 5% death rate. And the coronavirus has like right now in Italy, there's 17,000 cases of the coronavirus, and there's been 12,000 deaths. So less than a 1% kill rate. I'm not sure how wide it'll spread. So on how much impact it'll have across the United States, it could be big. That was a miss of the rough. But fortunately for us who play golf classes, we won't have any of our events done. We can be social and non-social at the same time. Park to Perry, hole 7, par 4. But the whole toilet paper scare just cracks me up. Like everybody's like hoarding toilet paper. Like they go into a place and they see that there's 20 things of toilet paper, and they're like, we better get 20 things of toilet paper right now. And I don't think the 1.4 right there is enough to get me over with a Titan to get over to that other side. Kyle did the shot last time from out here. He was right on that flagpole, right on that light post, and too much topspin. So let's see if he lowered his topspin a little bit. See if he can stick it this time. Perfect. Perfect. That is perfect. And that is not enough wind to get me over there. It would take, it's 2.1 per ring, and I'm a little shy of a ring, so it'd take about 1.9, and 9 is not 1.9, but it does carry a little bit farther over there, so we're going to go for it. Get it one ring right to the left again. Let's see if it does carry, or if it hits. No, it's going to clip it. It's going to clip it. And this is the thing about hitting over to this side right here, is you're coming at it on the side hill. So it wants to drift to the right, and it's very easy to end up off to the right. So you really want to start it off just like Kyle is on that left-hand edge. And at this distance, that rapier is about 1.3 per ring. So that'd be 3.9. What? That'd be 4 rings. That'd be 4 rings. Get in the hole. Get in the hole. See how it drifted there? When it comes in that first bounce on here, it takes a little bit of a jog to the right, and then it continues to jog to the right as it goes down the hill. this distance. I'm just going to go one ring at this distance. I'm going to lean just a little bit to the left. Hitting it perfect. Hitting it perfect. Have 0 chance of getting that in the hole, but 100% chance of getting it up there so that I can get back on track and go to a shootout. I want to get used to playing with that level 2 Spitfire. People talk about clubs. People are asking about I saw some stuff on Facebook about people asking about the, did you miss that on purpose? I'm caught up with you. Let's go to a shootout here. Come on, man. See if I can end up just short of the cup. Just short. People were talking about the apocalypse, and it's always been since the very beginning of the game. Everybody's like apocalypse, 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 and the deal is that some people get lucky with the apocalypse and some people don't. Some people get it. My buddy Scooby got it the very first day. I think it was probably the very first T7 chest that he opened, and it took me 2 years and 3 months, and I got it in a free chest. And I had every bit of 1,000 T7 chests opened. So you figure a quarter of that, 250 gold T7 chests, and never got the apocalypse, and finally got it in a free chest. So it just depends. But I will say that I got a Spitfire probably the very first day I was playing T7. So there is some luck of the draw. In my 77 account, it took me, not only did it take me 2 years to get over 2 years to get it. Yeah, it was probably right at 2 years. I'm going to do a 10% here. 2 and 10%, about 2.4. It took me 2 years. It took me 2 years to get my Thor's Hammer and Cataclysm. Until the club card trading came out, I was never going to use them because they were at level 2. I got them to level 2. I think my Cataclysm was still level 1, and the deal is they were never going to be usable because they were 2 years behind all the rest of my clubs. So, you get them early when you start playing T7. If you can pick those clubs up early, then you can build them up over time, because those are definitely clubs you're going to build up over time. Unless you're playing in the upper tours and you're buying a lot of chests. So if you're buying a lot of packs and you're playing in upper tours where you can get those in your tournament chests, it's going to take, and even then it's still going to take a long time to build them up. So it's almost like starting a brand new account 2 years later, and then you get those cards, they will never be usable. But when the club card trading came out, then I was able to, they came up in the store in my 77 account. I went through, it's probably about 2 weeks into it. I went through a stretch for like 2 weeks where the apocalypse was in the store almost every day. Close. Close. So it'll just depend on those cards, on how long, like the deal. Some cards you just get, and even like I got a Hammerhead really early on in my auto account, and then you never get cards for it. I really think it takes longer to get cards for it than I mean, it's just one of those cards, the clubs, that just takes forever. Some of these epics. The cool thing about the buffs that they did on clubs right before the club card trading came out is they took some of those epics and they gave them just a little bit. And then when they upped the epic level from 7 to level 8 for the max, they took some of those lower level T1, T2, T3 clubs that were epics that really were useless. And at least now when they get up to level 7 and level 8, they become viable choices, like the Castaway. as far as backspin. Like occasionally you need that backspin club in there, and it's a viable club now. The Grim Reaper, which I thought would be like, Grim Reaper, you never use that word in your bag. That was a nice shot. Is now a viable club. Max. Yeah, I want to be right in this area right here, and it's going to push me back just a little. You're right on the transition, right there where it pinches, where the ball guide's literally right on the spot where it would. I'm going to put max curl, and then I'm going to put some overpower to fight that wind. Isn't it perfect? That's the spot right there. And I actually overshot, so I'm going to be more towards mid guardian as opposed to min guardian. And I really do like to come at this at mid guardian. It puts me in a better spot. See this little ridge right here where I'm dragging my. If you want to be to the left of that over here on the flat, because if you're anywhere near that, what it does is your first bounce is a really high bounce instead of going forward. And it's really easy to throw your ball off trajectory. And my red line is going to be up in this area up here, and coming at it with a sniper. If you can get into that area right there with a sniper, you're at max club. And you got a great ball guide, so you can dial that sucker up. That is absolutely the best way to come at this hole. That way you don't have to engage that backboard. I see some people come out here and they tag that drive, and they're trying to get way in the hell up there with that drive. But what that does is it blows them past the area where they can come in low, and they have to engage the backboard. They'll get up into this area right here, and I'm not interested in getting in that area. This area right here is the spot. So there's max. There's min. So there's mid. So we're kind of close to mid. But I'm going to do a max number. I want to get up here a little bit more. Let's put some backspin on that sucker. I want it to see how it's kind of dropping off. 2.7. Yeah, there's 2.4 and a little. Oh. I could tell, even if I would have hit that perfect, where I sat right there, that first bounce was too damn high. I like this hole, though. A lot of people have difficulties just getting eagle here, and when this hole's in tournaments, I'm thinking Albie. It's all about that drive. If you can put that drive out there where you want it, you got a serious Albie look. And I'm definitely a fan of hitting it lower, so you're coming in lower like that. If you've played this hole before, you know exactly what I'm talking about as far as to break this hillside. If you're trying to come at it from farther up where you have to engage that hill, it's a difficult shot. I know when it first came out, we were actually overdriving it and then coming in there with a bigger side spin ball, a big side spin ball like a Kingmaker, so that you'd actually put on left hand. You'd start lower on it and then try and put left hand side spin. We're right at minimum club, so it's 1.7 per ring. $1.7, so we're about a half a ring, a little over a half. I got to get used to using that grid in that manner, where instead of starting off at the center, which is hard to find sometimes, starting it off on one of the other lines and then taking it out and working it that way. In the hole. That'll work. I'm still trying to get used to the grid. The grid's a new thing to me too. And the deal is that I know we have lots of teammates that have, if you have an Apple device, it's built into it. It's part of the accessibility stuff. Nobody can mess with it. Nobody can argue about it. Nobody can tell you not to use it because it's part of the accessibility program. But I've had comments from a lot of my teammates that have Apples that running that accessibility program slows their device down. And the problem there is that Apple, a lot of the third-party apps for running a grid, Apple doesn't allow you to run them. Which is one of numerous reasons why I don't like Apple. It's funny because the very first programming language I ever learned was Apple Basic. It was way back in the day. Apples were brand new, and the very first language I ever learned was Apple Basic. The very first computer I ever worked on was an Apple I. They donated 12 of them to my high school. And it was the electronics teacher who also taught stained glass. It was an elective, and you take it one period a day, and he asked all of us. We got it at the end of our junior year, and he asked all of us if we would, his favorite students, if we would take this class so we could fill it up. So we were all geeks, nerds. Most of us were sports nerds, so we were all in sports and we were nerds at the same time. So that's that combination. And I wrestled and did cross country in high school, and we took it as juniors. And then our senior year, they moved those. I went to a 2-year high school, and they moved those computers to the mid-high, which is 9th and 10th. And then Apple donated 12 Apple IIs, and the prerequisite for the class was if you'd taken basic programming the year before. So all of us that took it were juniors, and so we took it the whole year when we were seniors. So us 12 were the only ones that had those computers for a year and a half. And then when I went to college, it was all about the old languages. I think the second language I learned was Pascal, and then it was Fortran. And it was C++ and Lisp. Those languages always came really easy to me. They're all math. Spoken languages are a whole different story. I was never really good at the trying to pick up other languages, but let me text Kyle and see what the deal is. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. What do we got here? And we'll go ahead and end this one, and then I'll see if another one of my teammates wants to play. So that was a little bit of T4, just getting a look at some of the holes that were out there. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of the holes that we were looking for as far as the Glen Monarch Estates. We got several of the shootouts, but not a lot of the other ones. But that's kind of out there in T4 with some what I would consider mid-level clubs, upper mid-level clubs. All right. Thanks for watching.